Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year, 2016. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that's very relevant at this time of year, and that's bulking up. This is the time of year when most bodybuilders are in what we call the off season. For a lot of people that are going to be competing in the summer or next fall or fall of this year, this is the time of year when you're going to be trying to put on a little bit of extra muscle, improve body parts, not really worried about being shredded. So another word for it is that's been around for decades, many decades, is bulking. So I want to talk about bulking because there are things you need to be aware of, things you need to be cautious of. First of all, there's a term that's come into vogue in the past couple of years. I never heard it before then, called dirty bulking. Dirty bulking apparently is intentionally eating plenty of junk, a lot of junk, and allowing yourself to get pretty sloppy in the pursuit, allegedly, of maximum gains and this and that. But what's going to happen to the vast majority of people who aren't gifted with a very gifted fast metabolism is you're just going to get really fat. You're going to put on a lot of fat eating that way. There's no need for 90% of people, I'm going to say, to eat more than 2 or 3 junk food or fast food meals a week, even when you're bulking or trying to put muscle on. The reason is most of us with average metabolisms, or if you have a slower than average metabolism, you're not going to be converting that to muscle. It's going to be mostly fat. And the problem with that is, as I've discovered over the years, and many others who've been doing this for a while have discovered over the years, is the more fat you gain, the bigger pain in the ass it's going to be to get that fat off when the time comes, when you have to diet down. So you're better off just not getting overly fat in the first place. Another term that's come into vogue is clean bulk. I like that better. That implies that you're going to stay in decent condition, reasonable condition. You're not going to eat a lot of crap food. And that's the way to do it. Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say that if you can't see your abs and serratus, you're no longer a bodybuilder. And I think there's something to that. People often want to know, what body fat percentage should I strive to maintain in the off season? And I always hesitate to give an answer to that because it's kind of silly to say, well, you need to stay at 10% or 12% or 14% or whatever. Different body fat testing methods are going to vary, and I've seen people with, pot bellies, looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, double, triple chins, swearing up and down to me they're 10 or 12% body fat. And they just had it tested, so, they're sure. Well, let me tell you, if you can't see your abs, if you normally have a six-pack when you're in shape, if you can't see at least the outline of those 6 abs, you're too fat, even for the off-season. Another thing you really want to avoid, and it's something that I did for years and years and years, so take it from me, who's been the dumbass like this many times, is don't come out and say, I'm going to gain X amount of body weight, or I'm going to get to X body weight. And here's why. Say you're, just for argument's sake, you're a light heavyweight competitor. You compete at 198. You'd like to grow into a heavyweight. Great. That's not an unrealistic expectation. A lot of people have grown out of light heavies into heavies. I've done it. So, they decide they're going to do it in one off season. So they're saying, well, I was 198 at the show. I'm like 220 now. I'd like to get to 250 by the end of this off season. Okay. So at 220, you're already 20 pounds over your contest condition. Let's, for the sake of argument, say 5 pounds of that was water. So you got 15 pounds of body fat already. So you're going to add 30 pounds. Unless you're someone who just started training, or you're a natural bodybuilder and you're just starting to use steroids, I guarantee you there is no effing way you're going to put on 30 pounds in the course of an off-season that's going to go 3 to 6 months, because off-season lengths can vary. Most likely scenario, if you get to 250, 10 pounds of that 30-pound gain, if you're lucky, are going to be muscle. The rest are going to be pure body fat. In most cases, it's probably going to be more like 25 out of those 30 pounds is fat. Why did you put on all that fat? Because you didn't know it was fat. See, that's the problem. it's very deceptive, and I've done this so many times. You can be in denial of how fat you really are because you'll look at yourself at the best possible lighting and angles and say, well, I can kind of still see the striation in that vein. I'm still in good shape. Yeah, you're not. Trust me. I've lied to myself many, many times over so many off seasons. Said, I'm not getting fat. But then pictures don't lie. A lot of times you can look in the mirror and don't see it, but you'll see a picture of yourself at a family gathering or something like that, and you'll be, oh my God, I look like a freaking chipmunk. What the hell? And that's when you might come down to reality and realize it's time to clean up that diet. So you do want to have goals in the off season. And it's not terrible to have a goal of gaining a certain amount of body weight, but you have to be realistic about it. Nobody should be gaining 30, 40, 50 pounds, which I've seen happen many times. Even 20 pounds is pushing it. What you want to do is take your current condition, which is probably an off-season condition anyway. Don't let yourself get much fatter than that. You don't need tons and tons of extra calories. You don't. Your body only needs so many calories unless you're one of those very rare individuals with a super, super fast metabolism. You're probably not one of those. I'm not. Most people aren't. People like to say, well, Juan Morel eats McDonald's and ice cream and he does 30,000, 50,000 calories on Sunday. You're not Juan Morel. Trust me, you're not Juan Morel. There's only one Juan Morel, and it's not you. So you want to keep your body fat in check. You can gain a little bit of body fat, but the key word there is a little. You still need to see your abs. If they're getting very blurry and then you lose sight of them completely, you're too fat. You need to cut back on the junk, eat cleaner. You should always be keeping some amount of cardio in, especially if you're over the age of 30, just for the health of your heart and lungs. You should be doing a minimum 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes. I would do even more than that if I was someone over 40, like myself. Even when I'm in my deepest, darkest off season, I keep 5 cardio sessions of 20, 30 minutes in a week because I know it's the smart, healthy thing to do. It's not even so much to control body fat. It's really for health, longevity. So in summary, bulking is something you guys are engaging in right now, most of you. Please be aware that you're only going to gain so much muscle, and you need to be very careful not to gain too much fat, because when you gain too much fat, you're going to have a bitch of a time getting rid of it. You're going to probably lose some muscle in the process. You're not going to be too happy about that. No bodybuilder ever is. So eat clean, keep some cardio in there. You can have a little bit of junk here and there, just a little. You can eat a little bit more clean food, bump up your clean protein, lean protein, clean complex carbs, some healthy fats. There is no reason and there is no excuse to be a pig and go all out with pizza, cake, ice cream, cookies, candy. No. Quality food for quality gains. That's it. Again, have a happy new year. Have a productive off season, people. Talk to you later.